This podcast is sponsored by Rocket. The American dream of homeownership feels further and further out of reach. For many people, homeownership feels impossible. But Rocket is on a mission to help everyone get home. They've got a range of products and services designed to turn renters into owners, from lowering down payments to as little as 1% to helping turn your rent check into a forever home. Find out more at rocket.com. Rocket. Own the dream.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second LTE internet plan with smartphone plan savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
So what you're saying is like when you get a little stone chip on your windshield, and then like all of a sudden a month later it goes.
This is the plaintiff, Arlene Botkin. She says she went to the defendant, a dentist, for much-needed dental work, and the crown she made and installed lasted only 3 weeks. Because of the woman's greed, she put her through a big ordeal, caused her great pain and suffering, and for that she's suing for the return of the $920 she paid her. This is the defendant, Leslie Cohen. She says the plaintiff came back to her after 3 weeks because the crown fell out. After further examination, she discovered the tooth the crown sat on had cracked. She told the woman they'd have to extract the tooth, but the woman demanded she keep it since she was 74 years old and still had all her teeth. Bottom line, there's no 100% guarantee in medicine, and she did the work in good faith, so she owes no refund. She's accused of crowning around.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Arlene Botkin, you are suing Dr. Leslie Cohen, your dentist, for $920 that you want repaid to you because a crown that she put in cracked?
No.
Okay.
That's not quite
You'll have to explain it to me. What happened?
I should say from the beginning, I found Dr. Leslie Cohen through a reduced fee dental program from an organization that I belong to.
Okay.
I called her on the phone and told her I had had root canal work, and they told me I should have a crown and post put in. She made an appointment with me for October 25th, 2012. And she asked me to bring the x-rays, which I did. I came to her office on that day, and we had to discuss the cost of the post, because that was
What's a post?
I don't know, it's something that's put in.
What's a post? What's a crown? Can you explain what the work that you proposed to her to do?
A post is the supporting element so that we could put a crown on the tooth so she could eat with the tooth and function.
Okay, so a post is something you put in the center.
In a canal.
In the canal, so it goes in deep and comes out, and then the crown goes around it.
Right.
Good. All right, now, and how much was that going to cost?
Her fee schedule was
$1,900 and something?
Well, that was with the extraction and with the exam.
Okay. What day did she put in the crown?
She put in the crown, I believe it was November 26th.
That's the crown and the post at the same time?
No, the post was put in on October 31st.
All right, so she puts in the post, she puts in the crown. What goes wrong?
I was eating chicken, very soft chicken, and suddenly on December 21st, the crown comes out. I couldn't imagine what I was biting on. And there it was. It went in my mouth and it fell out.
And would break into two?
breaking the
It
tooth.
was like, no, did it break into two? Like when you say there it was, do you have
The crown
it?
came out. Yes, I have the crown
Okay.
right here.
Okay. All right, so you call her, I assume, the next day?
On Monday, I called her again when she was in the office, and I told her what had happened. She hadn't even gone to her voicemail.
Okay, and then what happened?
So she said, come in today. I said, fine, I'll be there later this afternoon, and I showed her.
Okay, and
the
so you come
crown.
in and you show her how it broke, and what does she say?
She had me take an X-ray, and she looked at the tooth, and she said, the tooth has to be extracted. So she extracted the tooth. It was no longer a tooth. It was extracted in 5 pieces. There was no longer one piece. As the day I came to her originally, there were 5 pieces. She showed it to me and told it to me.
So she did extract the tooth.
And 5 pieces, going through all of this 5 times,
okay.
yanking, suffering,
Okay, well, I mean, have you ever had a tooth extraction?
but not in 5 pieces.
Okay, and so
As a child, yeah. This
Okay.
tooth should not have been saved from the beginnings.
Okay.
Some teeth do not warrant crowns, and this certainly was a classic case.
did you ever tell her that you wanted to save your teeth?
No.
Okay,
No,
what's
I came to
what's
her
there
to
now?
get
You
an
just have the
impression.
hole, or did you get dental work done by somebody else?
Not regarding this tooth.
That tooth, you just have the hole.
Yes, I had the root canal done by an endodontist.
No, I mean after her, did you have
No.
any more dental work? That's what
No,
I'm asking.
I never
Okay.
saw any other dentist. She extracted the tooth, and I've never seen her since then.
Do you miss the tooth?
Of course, there's an empty place there.
Are you going to get something done there?
Hopefully in the near future.
Okay, Dr. Cohen, can I hear your side of this, please?
Sure. Patient, Ms. Botkin, presented, she came to the office on October 25th. I gave her informed consent for what root canal treatment is. She had the root canal treatment by a previous dentist. She sent over the films. I had the films from the previous dentist.
Do you have are the films on screen there?
That's the film that was taken when she came in with a tooth that was fractured.
Okay, can you show me what I should be seeing here? Can you go walk right up and show me what I
Sure.
should be seeing here?
This is the post that was put in the palatal canal that had fractured, but there's no sign of fracture on this film.
Wait, stop. That's the post that fractured when she ate the chicken?
This is the post that's still in the tooth. It had not fractured.
Is that a post that you put in the
I
tooth?
put the post in.
Okay, so these are x-rays that are taken after the chicken debacle.
Yes.
Okay, and so you're showing me the post and showing me that the post is not, I guess, or at least this x-ray does not pick up a crack in the post.
Exactly. There's
Okay.
no post. There's no fracture observable.
This
in
is the
film.
post.
Yes.
This is what, the crown?
The core buildup.
Core buildup. And then the crown is missing, of course, because
Yes.
this is after the chicken debacle.
The fracture that she had would not be observable on a film
Why?
because of the direction of the X-rays.
So you can never get an x-ray that shows a horizontal fracture?
You would in a CAT scan. We don't routinely take CAT scans in dental office.
Did you see it with your eye?
I saw the fracture with my eye. I did a clinical assessment.
Did
I
you take a
visual-
picture of it?
No, I did not. But she knew
What
she had a
happened? Why did the crown come off?
Probably because there was a fracture.
But didn't you see that before you put the post in?
No, there was no sign of a fracture.
Why did you see it afterwards?
Because it had
happened with the chicken.
It had probably been there maybe before she had the root canal treatment.
No, I'm not understanding. Here's the thing. You're a professional, and then you're saying that there's a fracture there. You could see it with your naked eye, and it was there before you did the work because you could see it, but then why would you do the work if there was a fracture?
The fracture may have been, it could have been a microfracture, and it could have been there even before the root canal treatment was performed.
And did you see it?
So it was not observable. The point is, it was
So wait, what are you saying then? That it was not observable before you put it in,
No.
but it was observable after you put it in?
It finally fractured.
So what you're saying is like when you get a little stone chip on your windshield, and then like all of a sudden a month later it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I say something? This whole situation about the fracture is not what was said to me. When I sat down in that chair and she looked at the remaining tooth, she said the cusp had broken. Well, I know a little bit about dentistry, and of course the cusp had broken because there was nothing to hold the crown on. There was 5 little pieces. That's why the cusp had broken. And I says, is there anything I did? She says, no. It's not your fault. Now we have a whole situation here with fractures. That was a fracture, a broken
What did she do
cusp.
wrong?
What did she did wrong? She should have given me an opinion that's based on dentistry, which would have evaluated that tooth as having to be needed to be extracted on the first visit, not to make a whole situation where she profits financially. I lose my money, I lose my tooth, and most of all, my suffering.
What's your response to that? She says that it was so bad that you shouldn't have tried to fix it.
She told me that
and that it was a waste of money, and that you actually told her most dentists won't try to fix it.
In 25 years, I'm actually called by my colleagues, I'm called the super dentist in my area, because I do try to save teeth that other dentists will not.
Can I see whatever waivers or disclosures or whatever else you had your patient sign?
Can I say something?
Just a second, ma'am.
You're good, ma'am.
Yeah, just hand it to my bailiff. You don't need to come in.
Thank you. Step back.
Where's the disclosure part, though? Like, this is the why are you here part.
That's the intake form. In terms of informed consent,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
Right.
Do you have anything with your patients where you say, I understand that there's no guarantees? Do you have anything or no?
Not for routine services like this.
Well, I don't know that I'd call this routine services. A crown that comes off in 2 weeks.
I don't want to sound cavalier, but this is the first time this has happened in 25 years. And I really feel sorry that this happened to her.
So when she came in and you extracted the tooth, did she express any concern that she wanted her money back?
No.
Do you think she deserves any of her money back?
I think she deserves her tooth back, but I can't give that to her. And I am successful about 99.9% of the times. I do many services that even specialists do not perform. So
there are patients, would you agree that there are patients who would sit down in your chair, I might be one of them, where you tell me, the chances are, most dentists wouldn't even do this, but, do you want to save your teeth? And I would say, yeah, I want to try to save my teeth. And then I'd take it as a loss because I took an informed risk to try to save my teeth. I'm just trying to place myself back in that chair on that day in October with this particular patient who is on a very limited income, apparently, and was very fee conscious. And was she that kind of gambler?
She came to me to restore.
Because I would love for you to provide me with something in writing that shows me she was, because she is claiming that she isn't, and she wasn't. And if she had been told the odds, she wouldn't have taken all this expense for a small payout of potentially saving the tooth. This is where an informed consent would kick booty.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Why are people so afraid of dentists still?
I think it's probably because of the germs and all the things that you can now catch from.
I think it's because of the pain.
No.
Why are they so afraid of there are all sorts of ways of numbing?
I wouldn't want to get my teeth pulled. Like, it's really painful,
Yeah, but what about even getting clean? There are a lot of people who won't do it getting clean. Why?
They just don't want to go through the pain of being poked and feeling terrible later on in the evening.
Yeah, but it's such a good thing to do, going inside the courtroom.
The tooth did not look like it was terribly on the borderline. It looked like a routine procedure, a routine post, a routine core buildup, and a routine crown. I also want to add that I did accept her reduced fee schedule.
So that was your choice. That's a decision that doctors and dentists make because they want business, which is fine.
Yes.
That's not a favor that anybody does for anybody. Ms. Bakken, here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you tell me, and she kind of acknowledges it, that most dentists wouldn't even try to save the tooth. And then I hear you tell me that her telling you, no, I think I can do this is some 100% guarantee to you. I don't think you're right. I have you telling me, doctor, that she knew exactly what she was getting into and that this is medicine. I agree with you. Medicine is medicine, and there are no guarantees in the human body. But then I have you telling me she understood that. And I hear her, and I don't know that she understood that, so I'd love to see proof she understood that, which you don't have. And I highly suggest that in every case, you hand over one little piece of paper, you make them read and sign. But half the time, they're not even going to read it. You know how people are. That's fine, but at least you're protected, right? Because she is, unlike perhaps your average client, maybe you do, I don't know who your clients normally are, someone for whom she doesn't strike me as a gambler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to order you to return half of the money. You can choose to use that towards future dental care with someone else, or you can choose not to and just sort of get used to the feel. That's really up to you. $460 verdict to the plaintiff.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, the dentist is out of the courtroom right here. What do you think about the 50-50 split on this?
I'm sorry she lost a tooth. That's worth more than the 50-50 split.
Fair decision, right?
I don't know about that.
All right, how come you couldn't figure out that tooth wasn't viable before you did the work
Because
on
it was viable.
So you're blaming you're blaming the chicken.
I'm blaming the
lack of... It's the chicken's fault.
Maybe 30 years from now, there'll be additional diagnostic tools to allow us to assess.
All right, head right down there. All right, so come on out here. Okay, so you get half of what you sued for.
No.
Yeah, you can buy half a tooth now.
Yeah.
All right, come on in here. You satisfied how this comes out now?
No, not really. I felt I deserved back everything. This dentist is proclaiming herself. When I went to that dentist's office 5 times, I had not seen another patient there. Then she's bragging about...
she's the super dentist.
Yes, she's the super dentist. And this is the super dentist that you don't find another patient
How's that super hole in your mouth feeling right now?
Not too good.
You going to fill it in?
Yes, as soon as I get my $460.
All right, over to Harvey then.
All right. Here's the thing that you should know. Doctors do not guarantee their work. All they do is they promise they will be professional and use the standard of care that other doctors use in their community. Now, we'll do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This podcast is sponsored by Rocket. The American dream of homeownership feels further and further out of reach. For many people, homeownership feels impossible. But Rocket is on a mission to help everyone get home. They've got a range of products and services designed to turn renters into owners, from lowering down payments to as little as 1% to helping turn your rent check into a forever home. Find out more at Rocket.com. Rocket. Own the dream.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
This is the plaintiff, Nicole Purcell. She says she and the defendant were best friends for 14 years, and they were going to Mexico on vacation to swim with the Dolphins. The defendant didn't have enough money to cover the entire trip or the extra excursions, so she agreed to lay it out. The defendant promised to pay her once she got her tax refund, but hasn't. So here they are. She's suing for $1,359.41, the amount she's owed. This is the defendant, Chelsea Larson. She says she's extremely hurt the plaintiff's doing this to her because they were best friends for all those years. The plaintiff received a settlement check for an accident she was the victim of and offered to take her on the vacation of a lifetime. Now the plaintiff's run out of money and is coming after her for what was originally a gift. She's no longer the person she thought she was, owes her nothing, and feels the judge will agree. She's accused of flipping on a friend.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says she was going to Mexico to swim with the Dolphins, but the defendant says the trip was a gift. It's the case of you're definitely dumber than a dolphin.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Nicole Purcell.
Yes.
You are suing Chelsea Larson, your former dear friend of 14 years, for $1,359.41 in flight, hotel, and expenses from a trip that you took together that, according to you, she was supposed to pay you for her half for. Tell me what happened.
Like I said, we've been friends for a very long time. She was my best friend, and we had planned on going on this. We had always said we wanted to go on a trip together.
Okay.
So
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay.
And we were hanging out at my house, and we said, let's just look online. Let's see what's on, browse some deals. And we came across a really, really good deal for Mexico. So it was January. It was let me see here. We booked it on February 3rd, and she was anticipating getting her tax return within the month or so. So she's like, all right, if you pay for it now, I'm getting my tax return, and I will pay you whatever I owe you for the trip. So we began to book the trip. We were really excited. It was very impulsive. And we started exploring other things. We saw that there was a park there we wanted to visit.
What's the name of the park?
Xcaret.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. And an uncle of mine, he went, he had swum with the Dolphins, and he had said, you got to do this. It's really cool. All right, so that's February. So now we're talking about the trip. We're having a good time.
The trip was going to take place when?
In May 2nd of that year. We used to go to this bar all the time, which my friend Christine here is the bartender at, and she was a witness to many a times us going there together, talking about this trip. The night before we went on the trip, we hung out at the bar before we went to the airport, because it was Cinco de Mayo week, whatnot. And
Cinco de Mayo week.
Yeah.
It's May.
Cinco de Mayo week.
It's May, so we were at a bar.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we went on the trip. We had an amazing time. I brought pictures of the trip. We had a great time. Margaritas for everybody.
Okay. But especially you two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went, like I said, we had a great time. We had all this fun. We get back. Now, I didn't want to be that person, be like, where's my money? Where's my money? I didn't want to attack her. So all summer, we're still hanging out, having a good time.
Are you hanging out every day?
We were hanging out a lot. Not every day, because she had a full-time job. I was working at a restaurant full-time at the time. So at the end of the summer, I had said to her, Chelsea, what's your plan? It's been 6 months. February is when I booked it. I was like, what's your plan? She's like, I can't afford to give it to you right now. I don't have the money. I'm like, and at this point I started suggesting, how about $20 a month? How about $50 a month? Something. I'm not asking for all the money up front, because that's a lot of money to just fork over if you don't have it readily available. So, she couldn't do it. So now all of a sudden our friendship's starting to deteriorate, because I felt like it was just unloyal and disrespectful to the friendship. I loved her a lot as a friend, and it just really hurt me that she didn't respect our friendship.
And did you have a final falling out, or it just kind of petered and then one day you sued her?
It was just once, I don't know, it was summertime, it's a fall, winter, we weren't really talking, because I felt like the topic of conversation always turned to me asking about the money, so.
What's going on?
Hi, how are you? Well, like Nicole said, we've been friends for a very long time. Best friends. We even call ourselves sisters. When she asked me to book the trip, she knew I didn't have the money. And I told her that I didn't have the money to book it, so she said she'll book it for us. And I said I could try when I get my tax return to pay you back. There's no guarantees. She didn't say
there's no guarantees.
Because I had a lot of bills. I wasn't making a lot of money. I am a single mother. And so I told her, I didn't know if I could pay her back.
Then why don't you just not go?
She really wanted to go.
Right.
She was very
and you're telling her that you're going to pay her back when you get your tax return,
I told
but
her
no guarantees on whether. Why are you saying it at all? Your defense that you filed in this case, and you have an affidavit from your mother claiming it was always a gift. From Jump Street, your testimony is the opposite.
Well, after that one night, we were, and this was 2 times. One time we were at my aunt's house having dinner, and she had sat there and told my whole family that, you know what, we've been through so much. Chelsea's done so much for me that I want to do this for her. And then another time we were at my mother's house, and she said the same thing to my mom, that, you know what, Chelsea's been through so much that I want to do this for her. And actually, Nicole had won a case a few months before.
A settlement?
A settlement. A large settlement.
Of what?
Because she had an accident, and I was there for that accident when we were younger.
You were present?
Yeah.
How
and
old
I was
were you
a
when the
witness
accident
for the
happened?
case.
14.
Oh my goodness. And there was a settlement a few years ago?
It just settled a couple of years ago.
Right. But right before this trip?
Not right before, but the year before.
The year before the trip. And what happened in the accident?
I had tripped on a skid that was in a
what?
A skid, the things that the forklifts pick up, like for merchandise.
A pallet?
Yeah. And I tripped on it.
There was
and
like a roam.
It was in
pallet?
the woods. It was like there was a trail from my house to the shopping center, and we were walking through, and it was covered in snow. I didn't see it, and I tripped, and I smacked my head on the trailer, and then smacked my head on the concrete, knocked myself out cold. Which,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So she was a witness with 2 other people as well who also gave me statements. But for the record, I didn't bring them on vacation either to say thank you. But you know, I had a blood clot in my brain and whatnot. I have a metal plate in my head now because of it.
Really?
And the payout was not like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It wasn't anything extremely significant that I can quit my job and whatnot. Okay. So I just want to make that clear.
Right. But and it doesn't matter.
And it doesn't pertain to anything.
You're a billionaire.
Exactly.
Either it's a loan or it's a gift. That's all that matters. But you seem to have the feeling that you. And I get that from, let me quote exactly what your mother says in the affidavit that you've asked me to read, that you were instrumental in her achieving the settlement that she had just gotten, and this was her way of paying you back for what? For telling the truth?
No, can I say something?
Yeah, tell me about that.
So when somebody says, I don't think I can pay you back, is that a gift?
No, not necessarily.
Well, I mean, what does it mean to say, I don't think I can pay you back?
Well, it means I probably am not going to be able to pay you back. Probably don't have the money.
I don't have the money, but is that a gift?
I don't think it's a gift in a way. I think it's a loan, but I mean, I still would want my money back. If you can't pay me back, then we shouldn't be going on the trip together.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
I never said that I feel like she needed to pay me back. I never said that. Those were her words to my mother and my aunt.
Okay.
That's why we said that.
Excuse me? I have some text message documents saying that she was saying that she's claiming that she's broke, that she would that I would understand that if I were in her situation, she wouldn't be able to pay me back as well. So I want to know that if it were a gift, why would she be telling me she's broke? What does that have to do with me giving her a gift?
Were you posting nasty things on Facebook?
Me?
Yeah.
Never.
Do you have nasty things on Facebook for me to look at that your mother's referring to?
It was from a long time ago. I don't have it.
What was it?
A while ago. What?
What about you mean?
She messaging me.
Oh, but that's not posting nasty things about you on Facebook. What was she saying in the messages? Pay me?
She would say that I was a terrible friend, and it just really hurts that she would say things like that, because since day one, I mean, my family, me, we've done so much for Nicole. And I'm not saying that she owes us, needs to, you know. I'm just saying that we were such good friends. She practically lived with us. And it's just hurtful for her to know what situation I've been in, what I've been through in the past 2 years, for her to do this to me.
What have you been through in the past few years?
I've lost my job. I've had to move a few times with my daughter. We had to live in New Hampshire. Sorry?
How old is your daughter?
6. She just turned 6.
Go on.
And she knew this, and she said that, you know, she felt bad, and she knew I wouldn't be able to pay for it.
And you've handed up a copy of a text that says, well, it's hard. That money is coming between us right now. It hurts me that you haven't made an effort after a year to give me a dime. Your answer, I'm broke, Nicole. If you were in my situation, I would understand. Answer, you got your tax return that you promised me you'd pay me with. Your answer, well, I didn't know I would have to live off it because I have no job. Do you have a job now?
Yes.
What do you do?
I'm a secretary.
Okay, so maybe you could have paid $20 or $50 a month in the course of the last 2 years, and then if you don't want to be your friend, you don't have to be your friend, but at least you wouldn't feel like a freeloader, and she wouldn't end up in court. You paid $0, and there could not be more evidence that you were supposed to pay, that it wasn't a gift, because you say it, and your text says it, that this was not a gift from Jump Street like your mother claims that she heard her say. It is one thing to do you a favor and front money for you. That's a favor. So you can go on the trip. But what happened is very clear. She is not the one who
I wasn't able
Stop
to pay
talking
my
and listen to me. She is not the one who cost the friendship over money. You are. Because you could have been paying $5 a month, $10 a month, anything, and this wouldn't have ended up in court. You are the one that cost a 10-year friendship to go right into the toilet over money. I rule in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,359.41.
All right, hold on both sides, please.
So the defendant comes out after losing this case and hearing it from the judge. What's going through your mind after that?
It's just hurtful, you know. that she could do this to me after that long of a friendship.
Well, it looks like you kind of did something to her, too, by not paying anything back or not even trying or kind of letting it slide.
I didn't feel like I had to. I felt like she wanted to do that for me, which she said.
All right. What's the value of this friendship now?
Apparently nothing.
What about from your side of it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not the one that
Would you
did
like
this,
to
so
remain friends with her if you possibly could?
I wouldn't be able to. Nope.
No? All right. Right around the corner this way, okay? Mr. McIntosh has got your documents set up, so you come on in here and is this worth losing a friend over?
It's been gone for a while. It didn't have to come today.
Mm-hmm. What do you think she should have done? Why didn't she pay you back?
She couldn't swing it, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's very unfortunate, and I hope nothing but the best for her. And I have nothing bad to say about her as a person.
You won't open the door for her as a friend anymore?
If I saw her at 7-Eleven, I'd open the door for her.
All right, Harvey.
You know, when you're dealing with friends or relatives or whatever, it's always a good idea to send an email to kind of explain the terms. You can do it in a really informal way where it doesn't look like a contract, but it does protect you and cement your rights. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Not all EVs are created equal. The Ioniq 9 sets a new standard. Hyundai's first all-electric EV with 3 rows. Space in an EV, finally. Plus, with over 300 miles of range, ultra-fast charging capability, and tech infused with safety features, this isn't just space, it's freedom reimagined. More room, more possibilities. Learn more about the Ioniq 9 at HyundaiUSA.com. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
This is the plaintiff, Wave Havrisco. She says she was a victim of Hurricane Sandy and was totally flooded out. Now the defendant, her landlord, is taking advantage of her and the situation and is refusing to return her security deposit because she was unable to get rid of the debris in her apartment according to his unreasonable schedule. Talk about being unfair. She's suing the louse, her former landlord, for $2,500, the amount of her security. This is the defendant, Frank Dapolito. He says he gave the plaintiff 3 opportunities to get rid of her furniture, but the woman was moving as slow as molasses and just taking knickknacks out. He told her she had to empty the apartment or he was going to have to hire a crew to do it. She simply chose to ignore his warnings. He had every right to use her security to dispose of her stuff, and that is that. He is accused of being a disaster.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says that she was victimized by Hurricane Sandy and re-victimized by her landlord. But the defendant says she abandoned her stuff, so he got rid of it. It's the case of you blow like Sandy.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Wave Havrisco.
Right.
You are suing Frank Dapolito, your former landlord, for $2,500, the amount representing your security deposit that he apparently refuses to return. Tell me what's going on.
Well, you have to start January 30th when my house went on fire. My car underneath my house, the engine went on fire, and Allstate had to move me out. And for a month I had stayed in a hotel, and I looked at apartments, and I found this apartment over there. It seemed decent. It had 2 bedrooms. My son was living with me, so I needed the 2 bedrooms. I also
Is that your son?
No, this
Who's
is
that
my
fellow?
son-in-law.
That's your son-in-law?
Okay. Allstate paid the rent.
Okay.
They also paid for furniture to be put in there.
Okay.
I have to pay
rental furniture?
Rental furniture.
Okay.
Sandy came in on the 29th. And
are you referring to Hurricane Sandy?
Yes.
Are you on a first-name basis with her?
Well,
Sandy came in. Sandy dropped by for tea.
Somehow I feel that I'm, part of Sandy.
Are you having a bad year?
I cahoots with Sandy because I had Sandy ruin this furniture and I did all this, So
you're
we're
having a very bad year, aren't you?
This is a plot.
Can I just ask you, honey? Are you receiving chemotherapy?
Yes.
Okay. How you doing?
So far, good. I had the surgery, and they took the lump out.
And it was only scar tissue so far, but I'm back on another kind of chemotherapy that I have to take every week.
Okay.
So then
you look good.
Yeah.
I mean, you look really, your spirits you have a lot more energy than I do.
Well, I have to keep going. I mean, it's not one. Sandy was more than just the flooding. It was my car was gone, but I wasn't in the flood area. I was in Section B. So, if I had been in A, I would have packed it up and got out of there.
Right.
But they said, no, you'll have some flooding. Some flooding. And you have the pictures, right? I'm showing
Show me the pictures.
Yeah. It was terrible, really. I mean, it came in so fast. I looked at the window, and it was nothing but a river of water coming down the street. I had enough time to grab my animals and get up to the second apartment. There was a rental upstairs, and I had the cats and the dogs upstairs.
How long were you there before somebody came and got you?
Well, I put 3 days there. I think it was 2. Okay. Really, all together.
All right. So you relocated. Then where? Like the 31st? Where'd you go?
After that, I slept on my daughter's couch. There was no place to be.
Right.
Then they put me back in a hotel.
The insurance company.
Could do. Yeah.
So who was paying for this at this point? The insurance company?
Yeah, they were paying for it.
Okay. When do you get your opportunity to go back and start to get stuff?
Immediately I had, as quick as I could. As soon as I could get you got your truck and we went there.
Okay, stay up.
By the 3rd, he had everything out of the apartment.
By the 3rd of what?
Of November. Everything was already gone and out.
Yeah. Okay. He kept every day. He called me every day. He says, "I want to get it." I understand. He wants to fix his apartment and all. I really do, but I wanted to get a couple of things out of there that didn't get damaged. Some things I lost.
Had you paid November rent?
The insurance company was paying the rent.
Had November rent been paid?
Yes, they stopped payment on the check.
So November rent was paid, and then you cash it, and they stopped payment on the check before it would go through.
Yes.
So what happened? The storm hit, and then?
Sandy came, and I don't live there. I live in New Jersey. So when I got there to assess the damage, okay, yes, I know she's having a bad day. I know she's having a bad year, but I also that's a business of mine that I rent properties. So I spoke to Wave. And I told her that they had to start to empty the house because my house and the house next door were the only houses that were not starting to get fixed. They took some boxes the first time that I saw them. They took some small things that could fit in his pickup truck.
Were you in an area where if you brought stuff to the curb, the government was picking it up?
Garbage men took everything.
Everything. So you didn't even have to figure out where you were going to take the furniture to. Why didn't anybody just start, come on up, you look big and strong. Why didn't anybody just start taking the furniture out?
Because the furniture, we didn't know what to do with the furniture because it's rental furniture.
No, I understand it's rental, but that's a phone call to figure out. And
I did. I called him.
Right, and they told you
By the 3rd day, I called him, and I said, I'll ask him what to do with it.
They told you to ditch it, right? Because it's damaged. You're not going to take it back.
Well, they asked me how badly it was damaged, and I said that he wanted to take it out, and they said he could do it.
Okay, so we know that that's not a problem. So why didn't somebody take it?
And I called him right away and told him.
So did you make arrangements with him for him to do it for you? When you say I called him right away and told him he can get rid of it.
He called me every day to ask about the furniture.
Right.
Okay. So I said, I'll call the company and ask them.
Right. Then you did.
I called the company.
They said get rid of it.
Yeah.
Then you told him you can get rid of it
if he wanted to.
Okay. You understand that the reason why we're here is because you want the security deposit back. And he says, she said get rid of it, so I got rid of it, and it cost me $2,700 to get rid of it.
He didn't tell me that.
But you do know that.
No,
you know that he had to pay to get rid of it. See, it's your stuff.
But nobody else, they put theirs by the side of the road.
Because those people put their stuff by the side of the road. He had to pay people to put your stuff by the side of the road because you didn't put your stuff by the side of the road.
He said he wanted to get it rid of it, and I said the company.
I know, but you're just assuming that it's. I understand that, but you're just assuming that you could tell somebody, "Hey, go move all my stuff out and get rid of it." You're not getting it, are you?
No.
It's your stuff. You rented it and you put it in there. It's your stuff. He doesn't have an agreement with your furniture rental place. It's your stuff. But you wanted to do like this and not have a problem. and not have to pay somebody to move it and not have to make arrangements for them to move it and not do anything. And then as it turns out, it ends up being really pricey to move to the front door. You know, what we have here is a problem that by the way, the people you paid, did they just put it to the curb?
Yeah, I told him just put everything on the lawn wherever it could fit.
Where did it go to? The day I called you that night, and the next morning it was completely empty.
Yeah, but what did you say to him that night? By your own admission, what you tell him is you can throw it away. Well, then he did, but where did you think the cost would come from?
I told him that if he wanted to, the company said he could throw it away.
Right, I understand, but what you're not understanding...
anything. He didn't tell me anything. Oh, he didn't give me a choice of saying, you know, I'm going to throw this out, but it's going to cost you. Maybe I would have arranged something else. Yeah. But I had no knowledge that
okay, I'm going to ask you to respond to that a second, but I know, but you know what you need to understand? At some point, a light bulb should have gone on in your head that some things are your responsibility and you got to take care of them. And getting your stuff out, and you can't just leave your stuff to be somebody else's problem and be shocked that there's a fee associated with it.
I didn't have if he said that he was going to charge me, I would have given me a choice, but I had no choice because he said nothing to me.
Why didn't you just say to her, you know, get the stuff out?
I gave her three times. I said, if I have to do it, I'm hiring a crew to do it. I'm not going in the sludge to carry it out. I'm hiring somebody to do it.
So you told her that?
Yes.
If I have to do it, I'm hiring a crew to do it.
No.
And I told her son-in-law also the last time he was there, he went in down the basement when the water went down and there was still 2 or 3 inches of sludge in the basement.
Maybe that's why they didn't
with
do
a
it,
wading
it was
suit
just too
on.
disgusting and
right. He put a wading suit on.
Unhygienic.
And he said, and he went and came out again with boxes of whatever he took. And I said, you got everything? He says, yeah, I'm not going down there anymore.
Did he tell you he was going to hire people to do it?
No. He told me he was going to get rid of it, but I didn't have much. I talked to him for 5 minutes standing outside one day. I never had any contact with him.
Did you ever use a phrase that he says that I'm done when you came out?
Oh, yeah. I told him I'm not going down to that basement again.
Yeah.
I didn't say I wasn't going to the first floor, but the actual basement, I wasn't going back down there again.
Right. It was pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when the tenant says, get rid of my stuff, and the landlord gets rid of the stuff, can the landlord deduct what it costs to get rid of from the security deposit?
Most certainly, because if he has to spend money to have someone remove your items that you didn't remove, he needs to get his money back.
Fair enough. What do you think?
Absolutely. Nothing's free.
Very compelling, guys. Very compelling. Going inside the courtroom.
Okay.
If I had known, I would have arranged something.
Yeah,
I'm
no, but
sorry.
then I guess this is why you have to make it your business to know and not just leave it in somebody else's hands.
Well, they didn't tell me. The furniture company said he can take it away if he wants to take it away.
No, you with all due respect, you're used to. You have this feeling that.
Because I wasn't.
It's not my furniture. It's the furniture company's. He can take it away. They said he could take it away. And sometimes you got to take care of your own stuff. And this is one of those times. My verdict is for the defendant.
Okay, so look, when you are dealing with a landlord, because this is probably the most common conflict of all, when you move out of an apartment, the landlord doesn't give you all of the security back that you think you're entitled to. When you're dealing with a landlord during the course of the lease, and things change from time to time, cement it in an email, and that goes for both the landlord and the tenant. It is the only way at the end of the lease there isn't going to be any surprise in terms of what the landlord can and cannot keep. It protects the rights of both the landlord and the tenant.
This podcast is sponsored by Rocket. The American dream of homeownership feels further and further out of reach. For many people, homeownership feels impossible. But Rocket is on a mission to help everyone get home. They've got a range of products and services designed to turn renters into owners, from lowering down payments to as little as 1% to helping turn your rent check into a forever home. Find out more at rocket.com. Rocket. Own the dream.